I'm Elaine Kuzmeskus, a professional astrologer, and welcome to my channel, Soul Cycles. Today I'm going to talk about Kamala Harris, who is currently running as the first female president of the United States. She was born October 20th, 1964 at approximately 9:28 p.m. in Oakland, California. And I like an exact time like 9:28 because it makes me feel more confident that it is the correct time. I'm always a little suspicious when I get somebody say 9 a.m. or 10:30. It seems like maybe the nurse or doctor was just looking at the clock and putting down approximating the time of birth. So I think that is the accurate time. And the more accurate our timing is in astrology, and the more accurate we can be in our predictions. So her father immigrated from Jamaica. He was a professor at Stanford University. And her mother was from India, and she was the daughter of an Indian diplomat. So she comes from a very strong background of intelligent people. Her mother also was a cancer researcher, humanitarian people. And Kamala Harris was born during a full moon. Interesting, Donald Trump was also born during a full moon. So here we have two very strong individuals. And one of the things about a full moon is you have opposing energies. So Kamala has her sun in the sign of Libra, which rules relationships, politics, the arts, and is a very intelligent sign. And her moon, and a moon is very important in a woman's chart because women are ruled by the moon, is in the dynamic and independent sign of Aries. So she's very independent emotionally, and at the same time has a very strong drive for relationships, politics, and helping others in general. We find that her sun is very close to the planet Mercury, which just slipped over into the sign of Scorpio, but never together. They are close together, so it gives her a strong sense of intelligence. Mercury in Scorpio is a very intense position, especially in the early degrees. So when she starts something, she finishes it. And she's very likely to keep a few secrets because Mercury and Scorpio can be very private, especially about their personal life. She comes across as a fairly good communicator. She has Gemini rising, and she has a good sense of humor, but I don't think we see a lot of her sense of humor because of the position that she's in at this time. I bet she's a lot more playful at home, and especially with her stepchildren. I hear she likes to make dinner for them and do the family shopping, which is nice. She also has a Gemini ascendant, which shows an ability for curiosity and writing. And she has written one book that was very well received. It was called Smart on Crime, and is considered to be kind of a field guide to dealing with the nation's problem of recidivism. Unfortunately, so many of our people, especially young people, who go through the criminal justice system, it becomes a revolving door. We really have to do better, and I think the book gives some good suggestions for that. On November 8th, 2016, Kamala Harris ran successfully for the Senate of the United States, and she defeated Loretta Sanchez. And then in August of 2020, she became Joe Biden's running mate. And in January 20th of 2021, she became the first female vice president. Now that shows a meteoric rise to success. And now she's running for president. I would say she's got some good karma going for her. She also is a person who has quite a lot of ambition. Any woman with the moon in Aries likes to go, 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 and they never stop. So if she wins the election, I feel it's going to be because she has the majority of the popular vote as well as the electoral college. I think it will be an exciting period for women in this country. On the other hand, if she doesn't get in, which may be because President Trump, our former president, wins the electoral vote, she's not going to disappear. This is a woman that's going to stay in politics. She's going to fight for women's rights because it's in her heart. And I think she might even expand to women's rights in other countries as well. So it's going to be an interesting thing to see how Kamala Harris helps the women's movement and women in general. She has the women's vote, but she has to get the male vote. And so that's going to be a very important factor in the election. Now, 2024 turned out to be her lucky year. She could thank the stars for that because it was a year when she had very, very good Jupiter aspects and a honeymoon period. And it said that she raised $1 billion, not a million, $1 billion for her campaign. So it does show that there are people who would like to see her win. Now, as I said, the women's role in politics is going to be the key to her success. But there's also going to be a lot of celebrities who are coming out for her. And the women just love her slogan, "We won't go back." And this excites the female population. So I think this is a very important period for her. So if Kamala Harris gets in, I predict she's going to make sweeping changes. She's going to expand Medicare, access for women's health, including abortion rights, and I think she's going to do a lot to help the disenfranchised. I also feel she's wise enough to take care of the border issues, so that's important. So these sweeping programs are going to be very interesting. So the big question will be when you go to the ballot, is America ready for such big changes? And that's what's on the mind of all the voters. But let's take a look at some of the things that are leading up to the election. First of all, on November 1st through the 7th, we have the planet Mars, which is the energy planet. It's the planet of war. It's the planet of protest. And unfortunately, it's going to be opposite Pluto in the sign of Capricorn, sign of government. So I do feel the first week in November, leading right up to the election and right after the election, there are going to be a lot of vocal protests. It's like no one is going to be happy. Let's hope that they're not violent. That's the most important thing. And let's hope that they're contained rather quickly. I also feel that Mars enters Leo, big media blitz, 24 hours before the election. No surprise there, of course, but it shows the stars. And when people vote, in November 5th, it'll be a huge turnout. I think everybody wants to get their vote in. However, I do predict the final results will not come out until around November 15th when Saturn goes direct. It's going to be razor thin. I can't say who's going to win. It's razor thin. And it's going to be something that's going to recall a recount. People calling voting into question, registration. So it's going to take a couple of weeks before it's sorted out. I wish that the best person will win the election. I do not see Kamala Harris leaving politics, whether she becomes president or takes another role on. She's captured the nation's attention, and many of the women are very much in favor of her. However, we find that Donald Trump, on the other hand, has certainly captured the male vote and got a lot of men into politics who weren't too interested before. So it's going to be a very interesting time. You know, either way, eventually the United States is going to come into a new way of looking at democracy. I think eventually we're going to expand Medicare for all. I think we're going to go a little more like the European model. And also at the same time, I hope that people will benefit from the Jupiter in Gemini making wonderful aspects as we go into 2025 and giving us some opportunities to expand our artificial intelligence, to expand our internet access, and to expand the automobile industry. I think 2025 is going to be good in terms of bringing the auto industry back, maybe spring or summer or fall of 2025, more interest in manufacturing. And this will give our nation a boost that it really can use at this time. I'll be talking more about 2025 when I do my predictions in January. Till then, I wish you a very peaceful and a happy Thanksgiving. I post a monthly astrological blog on my website, The Art of Mediumship. I also like to introduce you to the sun sign that month and the person of the month, as well as our celebrity people born under that sun sign. I hope you'll take time to look at the astrological blog because it also tells you planets to note in the month that may be very helpful in understanding your own astrological journey.